What do you do when you realize you are one of the ones out of many that have been domesticated? I mean, if you hear dogs barking in the background, this relates to the point. There are some dogs in my neighborhood barking at the perfect time right now because that proves that, for example, dogs have been domesticated and they are trapped and they're unable to be their true selves in the confines of society. But the only reason we have gotten the idea to domesticate them is because we ourselves are domesticated. And this concept, I was first introduced to it in the book called The Mastery of Love. Beautiful book. I need to reread that. But beyond that, I started to experience and realize this in my own day-to-day life. It's pretty insane that we have dogs, for example, and we have them in our house the entire day, or a majority of the day, and we take them on a walk, but they're on a leash, so they cannot roam. And although we do this to ourselves as well, and domesticating ourselves by focusing our attention on one area, such as our job or these little problems that appear in our lives, we were born into it, so you can't blame yourself. But once you're aware of it, you can't unsee it. And I wonder if like I have two dogs, right? I wonder if my dogs are aware of it. You might hear him barking, Maverick. I love him. I wonder if Maverick and Coco, my dogs, are aware of it. Do they know? Because if you're aware of it, it is a lot more painful. And there's like this inner animalistic part of you that needs to be expressed, that needs to be unleashed and wild and free. But you're like, I don't know if you feel like this, but sometimes I feel like trapped, like I have all this energy, and it has turned into rage. It has turned into inner like rage buried deep, 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 deep down into my essence of I want to go in nature and just be wild and free. I have a poem that inspired me. I was in Colorado recently, and I was on this train thing, this tour. We had to sit on the train for a very long time. For like 2 hours, you had to sit on the train. I went with my family. And then you get off for 30 minutes to look at some scenery, and then 2 hours, you sit on the train to go back. And I was like, this is pretty stupid. When I was on the train, I was thinking, we're all just sitting here, but I just saw it so clearly that we are all, including me, so used to this sedentary lifestyle nowadays, especially in the West, or not, yeah, in the US or certain areas, especially places that are focused on driving. And if you think about kids, like when we were young, we couldn't sit still. We had so much energy, but you slowly lose your intuition. As a kid, your body instinctually wants to be moving 24/7, and as you get older, you become more domesticated, and people tell you to behave this way and this way, school or parents or even peers, and then at some point, you are completely disconnected from your sixth sense. Oh my gosh. So I'm learning about these somatic things in my yoga training, the pre-work, and we learned about our sixth sense, and that has to do with the awareness of your inner being and your inner cues, your body's cues. So as we get older, we become more disconnected from it in some cases where we are integrated in society. And I would love to leave society at this point. Civilization, you know how people always say, be civilized. Yeah, it's like, I don't know. Obviously, I think it's important to be kind, but kindness doesn't mean control. Like, I feel like there's a point, at least in the West, or at least in some areas in the US, where people pleasing is so rampant, and it's actually annoying because everybody does it. And I just want to be real with people. I just want to be like down to earth and speak my mind. But if I do that, I mean, some people will appreciate it. My friends are cool. They're cool. But a lot of people will be uncomfortable with the truth. So, yeah, people pleasing is rampant, and that is as a result of being domesticated to conform into the specific boxes that make it easier to control us. But I don't know if you have had this, but there's always been this inner voice inside of me that has known like something is off, like something isn't right here and it needs to change, and just always feeling off and just thinking I was the problem. And then you look at the environment. I have a metaphor of like if you put, let's say you have a pine tree, right? And you put it in the desert, it will probably die. But would you blame the pine tree for dying, and would you blame the desert for killing it? No, you'll probably blame the person that placed it there because it doesn't thrive in that environment. So it's like the stepping away from self-blame and realizing that the system is not designed for your well-being. Like genuinely, it is not designed for your well-being. Literally. You can obviously find a place in it, but is it going to be short-lived? I don't know. Everyone's experience is different. Maybe you are one of the few resilient plants that can still thrive in this system. But I personally am not. And yeah, we need to stop blaming these plants that are dying because number one, they're not getting enough water, hypothetically, or they're getting too much sun or not enough sun, or not getting the proper nutrients in the soil. All of these factors. And most of the time, like, I think if a plant dies, most of the time it's due to environmental conditions. It is usually not due to genetics of the seed. Obviously, certain genetics are different. So I'm going to read this poem that I wrote on the train. Maybe the end of the road is the beginning of true exploration. A path untraveled cannot be predicted, rather chosen. Surrender will allow for unlimited creation. Letting go preserves what has never been broken. Choosing to reside in an invisible cage, chained up by imaginary chains. Impossible to quench a cascade of rage. This existence is utterly insane. I choose to lock my mind up in a box. 'Cause what if I break free? And what if I stand still, shuddering in shock, that I may be more miserable in the bottomless sea? Domestication, a comfortable trap. Deceived to believe this is the key to joy. I'm tired of living by a suffocating story. Civilization begs for stagnation. A world filled by side characters. We are afraid to take a wrong turn. so we stay the same and live in a repetitive blur. I'm growing nauseous, sick from rumination. True danger is cautious. Break free from the nation. There is no more reason to stay in this game. The world has gone mad by refusing to change. I now choose to let go of my name, for today my undefinable life begins. And the day I wrote that, my undefinable life did not begin. I'm gonna be real. It did not begin, because I'm still here. I am still here, domesticated, in civilization. Now what? I don't know. I'm just waiting to graduate. What is going on? So, yeah, I'm going to be real here. The side character reference, I am going to make an entire video on that, because that's a whole different thing. But I wonder if the animals in the zoo feel like there's something off, but I can't quite put my finger on it. I wonder why I'm depressed. Okay? So, what do we do now? Put it in the comments. I know I just got tons of energy randomly. Put it in the comments. I don't know what to do. The first step is awareness, and the first step of, I don't know. The first stage of grief is denial, and we're all still in denial, guys, okay? We're all still in denial, and we can't do anything if we don't accept that civilization is going in the wrong direction. We need to accept that we are going in the wrong direction so we can change it. I can't accept the way civilization is, but I can only accept that I cannot accept it, okay? I hope you guys have a great week. I know this isn't much closure for you, but let's do something about it. And yeah, that's all I have to say.